with Sean Grech.
After Thursday, I will no longer be Ontario's Premier.
With just days to go before Ontario heads to the polls, the race for the Premier's office has completely changed. Liberal leader Kathleen Wynne acknowledges the election has been lost in what political experts calling a stunning, unprecedented move. Good evening and thanks for joining us. We begin with the political bombshell felt across the province. Kathleen Wynne made an impromptu morning announcement conceding defeat, but still appealing for Ontarians to stop the Tories and the NDP from winning a majority government. CTV's Colin DeMello reports. You're looking at a live shot of Highway 400 southbound at Bayfield, where, as you can see, lots of families from the city are making their treks back home. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. The mass exodus down Highway 400 is underway as families get ready to return to work and school tomorrow morning. And while it's all over now, this long weekend was a welcome one for most of us after a long and cold winter. For more, let's go live now to CTV's Mike Arcelides, who did a tour of some of our hottest tourist destinations today. Mike. Tony, the 30-year-old mother and her 2-year-old daughter were transported back to RVH today from a Toronto area hospital. We now know the condition of the mother has changed from critical to stable, and the 2-year-old girl has since been released from hospital. But what we still don't know is why this carbon monoxide leak happened.
What we know so far is this morning Barrie Fire were called to a house in Barrie. Now, when they arrived, they found 3 people, a 10-month-old and a mother unresponsive, and a 3-year-old was awake but suffering from signs of carbon monoxide poisoning. Now, they were all rushed to a local hospital, but as far as we know at this point, the mother has been airlifted to a Toronto area hospital. I'm also at the scene right now, and police are still here investigating, Barrie Police, of course, and Enbridge Gas is also here on scene. The coroner was here as well, but left the scene and wasn't able to confirm more details for us. But however, fire officials say the home was found to have higher than normal levels of carbon monoxide, and they also say that there were carbon monoxide detectors in the house but were not sounding when they arrived here at the scene.
Catherine, one of the truck drivers involved in the crash has now been charged with careless driving. Police say the driver of the northbound transport truck lost control of the vehicle and wasn't driving according to the weather conditions today. For most of the day, all lanes on Highway 400 between Innisfil Beach Road and Mapleview Drive were shut down after a northbound transport truck lost control, took out the guide rail and spilled 500 liters of diesel fuel early this morning.
The roads may look wet, but with that snow and slush, it can make things very treacherous. And if just the one side of your vehicle catches that slush, it wants to pull the truck into the slush even further because of the drag, and that's what happened here.
Parts of the guide rail got pushed into the southbound lanes. That's when another transport truck carrying vinegar hit them and went into the ditch.
The drivers of both of these vehicles were not injured, but the driver of that northbound truck has been charged with careless driving.
Heavy equipment had to be brought in to clean up the mess.
The spill cleanup will be ongoing after today. The majority of the spilled diesel was cleaned up, vacuumed up from the catch basins by a licensed contractor. There has been soils impacted at the side of the highway, which will need to be excavated and dug up basically sometime after today.
Crews with the Ministry of Transportation were also on scene setting up concrete walls where the guide rail was damaged in time for tonight's evening rush. Tow truck crews now face the difficult task of trying to recover the loaded truck stuck in the ditch.
We tried to winch it all the way out without it splitting apart, and it split apart. So now we're having to offload it, and hopefully we can get in there with our machine.
And all lanes on the 400 from Innisfil Beach Road to Mapleview Drive have reopened, but police say the transport truck still in the ditch will likely be there until Thursday until the weather clears. Reporting live in Innisfil, I'm Sean Grech. Catherine, back to you. People in this community, in this low-lying community, do tell me that they are very reliant on the town of Innisfil to pump the water into Lake Simcoe. Now, crews do tell me that the pumps will remain in place until water levels recede below the culvert, but that could be a number of days as there is more rain in the forecast. Reporting live in Innisfil, I'm Sean Grech. Tony, back to you. Benjamin Dunn was just one of 3 people who were killed in Tuesday night's fiery crash on the 400. And tonight we hear from his wife, who says she doesn't know how she's going to raise her 9 children alone.
It's just so hard to fathom that my children don't have their daddy around, and they already miss him so much.
Nakaya Mulak Dunn of North Bay still can't comprehend the loss of her husband, 37-year-old Benjamin Dunn.
I just miss his voice. It's just, our family is different now, so I just miss that. It's just so tragic.
Dunn was driving one of the 2 loaded fuel tankers involved in the explosive collision. A devoted father who always enjoyed coming home to his family.
Whatever, he'd walk in the house and they would all run to him and Daddy, and he'd pick them up, and they're not going to have that anymore.
Nakaya confirms her husband worked as a driver for transport company Marnin Bulk Carriers. The company is not commenting. Police suspect one fuel tanker failed to stop for slowed traffic and are still looking at many factors to determine the cause.
Driver error, maybe distracted driving. Again, but we will look at multiple options from weather to road conditions to other factors.
Today, traffic is flowing in both directions, with few signs of the gruesome scene that was here just 24 hours ago. The Ministry of Transportation tells CTV News it took 6 hours last night to repave and repair the highway. Crews are still dealing with the gas and diesel remnants that spilled. And while the work at the scene continues, a family looks to the support of its community in a time of grief.
Our family is just so taken back by everybody's love and support.
And tonight, police are not releasing any details of the cause of the crash, and the identities of the other 2 victims are still unknown at this time. Reporting live on the side of the 400 near Bradford, I'm Sean Grech. Tony, back to you. But today, Doug Ford's team told us that Ford wants to speak personally with Patrick Brown before he comments or makes any kind of decision. Brown is currently in Florida, and it's unclear how soon the 2 may speak to figure out whether those nomination papers will get signed. Sean Grech, CTV News, Barrie. Tony, Barrie City crews are ready to combat the snow, and as you can see behind me, it has already started. I'm told the city is planning to dispatch 12 to 14 salt trucks and 14 sand trucks.